Hey everybody, I'm Jang's Head from UltimateRC.com's Head, and obviously I'm about to unbox the HPI Baja 5B Flux. This thing is big. I thought the Summit was big. The Summit is not big. This is big. This is really big. So let's get to it. Love my trusty cutter. Always keep it by my side. Here we go. Oh man. Oh. Oh, crap. Wow. Oh man, look at that. Oh, check out the suspension. Oh, this is sick. Oh. That's not any better, is it? How about this? Nope. Well, at least this will help a little bit. I can get through a couple things that you'll actually be able to see. First of all, here's a radio. It's that new one. I really don't like this transmitter compared to the previous one that they were including on their RTRs, but you know, it'll do the job. It's a basic 2.4 gigahertz radio set. It's got trims and reversing and steering dual rate, and that's it. Next, there's a bag here with various products, oils and lubes and things. Also has the wing inside of it, which, okay, this does need to be opened. And there's an extra spool. You got to see this spur gear. I will open this up. Let me see if I can kind of move it to the side here. The spur gear is right there. Oh man. I take it this is a wheel nut, wheel wrench. I'll open this up and give you a better look at it. It's all very comical. The manual is underneath here. All right, and they do give you AA batteries. They give you 6. They give you 1 pack plus a half a pack, because this silly transmitter doesn't take the old standard 8 AA's, doesn't take the new standard 4 AA's. It takes 6. But that was nice of them to include some for me. And there's some comically tiny stickers on here for this huge, humongous vehicle. Move that to the side, and that will allow me to take out this cardboard insert here. I'm gonna just toss that in front here for a moment. Got some protective covering to help protect the body from any scratches during transport. Then I can take the vehicle out, and now do you see it? Hell yeah. Why is this thing sitting up so high off the ground though? And the suspension is really stiff. Maybe this is something that they did just for the sake of packing, because there's a fair amount of preload on these. While I'm sitting here looking at stuff, I will start to remove some of this preload, because it's a little ridiculous. It's a little much, and it feels under dampened too. This is if you've never seen one of these things in person, you should try it sometime. Find a hobby shop that has one in and see if you can just look at it. Just to look at it. You know, for the male brain, I think it's just one of those things that goes directly to your pleasure centers in your brain, and you know, it just says I am an RC. It is the ultimate look of an RC, you know, an RC land vehicle, a big old buggy with narrow front tires and knobby rears. It's got the nice kind of roll cage frame rail sort of look up here. It kind of looks to me like the Tamiya Grasshopper did when I was, you know, 7 or 8 or something like that. similar in relative size. And tough to talk, actually literally feeling a sense of speechlessness. This thing has beadlock wheels on it all the way around, and the inserts on these tires are super hard. I mean, they're very, very firm. The fronts feel a little bit softer. The rears are very firm. It's like, it's almost like it's solid rubber, just a soft, solid rubber in there. The motor on this thing, you'll have to take a closer look at. Not sure if you can quite see it in there, but it's huge. It's the size of, I mean, it's larger in diameter than a Red Bull can, and probably similar in length to one of these smaller Red Bull cans. Castle system, obviously. It has the Castle Mamba XL2 extra large ESC with heatsink all around it, and nice fan on top, and huge caps coming out the side. Let me see what gauge these wires are. Castle Creations 8, there we go. 8 gauge wire that all comes down to one single little Dean's connector, which is kind of comical by comparison. But let's see what else we can access from the top to get into this thing. There are 2 little pins. Oops, actually, that's not going to do what I thought it was going to do. I'm going to take these off, and that allows me to remove the body. Now you can see the frame rail. It's from the side a little bit. It's all one piece of aluminum, of thick aluminum. I want to say 5mm-ish, and it's bent. It actually bends here on the bottom on one side, and then bends up on the other side, and then actually bends out again. So it's actually a channel, a fluted channel all the way around. Very, very strong assembly. And it's 2 main pieces, it seems like. Yep. Turn that over, maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. There's one piece goes all the way up to here, and then the next piece continues back. Again, metal. They've got a really, really heavy duty motor mount set going on here. All right, there goes that. And right here, this is part of the motor cage, so to speak, that holds the rear, basically braces the rear upper section of the chassis towards the front, and it's just a thick machined piece of aluminum. Very, very thick, like 3/8 of an inch thick, and it's a similar thing on the other side for the actual motor mount. Now, what I was trying to get out earlier was getting into the battery tray, and there are these hooks that you can turn, it looks like. Then I think I can finally get in. There we go. That's what I was trying to do before. It's those. Not all that well thought out, this battery cover. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's an expert at this, who's had it for weeks or just figured it out immediately, the trick for getting this thing out, but it's not as convenient as it ought to be. There's the battery tray. It's open. There's lots of pieces of foam in there, and stuff for protection for your batteries. And there's another one towards the front, and then there's a pad on the bottom also. See how this goes. 1 and 2. Ooh, is it going to be a tight squeeze? Ah, there it goes. It is a tight squeeze, but it's better than being loose. Maybe a little bit too tight. Yeah, a little bit too tight. It's not quite working out for me with foam on both sides. I had to take off the foam from both sides. And I actually could put these all the way down in the tray if I wanted to. If I wanted to take out the foam on the bottom, but I don't, because I do want to have some padding in there. There we go. I just put a couple of pieces of foam, just the side pieces, and just bent them around to form a little bit of a spring there. That helps a little bit. And then you'd hook up your 2 leads together with just a series connector, and then find the trick for getting this back in. Yep, and then try to route the final lead out through this little escape hatch at the back, and then these will just lock down. It's definitely an awkward battery tray here. So that's basically that. Thing does have a fair amount of metal on it. Like I said, the whole chassis, the rear braces, these drive shafts are absolutely huge. Metal shocks all the way around, completely including the bodies. That's very welcome. The rear shock tower has a metal bar going across the top. The rest is plastic braced around. The front is also plastic. Let's see, got a different type of plastic used for the front pillow balls, the pillow ball cups, but it looks a little bit metallic, but it isn't. Looks a little bit metallic, but it isn't. Looks a little bit metallic, but it isn't. Looks like you do not have a lot of adjustability for your shock mounting positions with these stock pieces. As a matter of fact, there doesn't look to be any adjustability whatsoever. They just give you the positions that they believe are correct and expect you to go with it. Again, really not sure about this dampening rate here. I think it needs some stiffer oil for sure. It actually feels like it could use a lot more pack. I can't feel any pack in that. It just feels the same rate no matter what the speed. The front's super stiff, and this is with the 2 batteries in it already. Front's really stiff. Could definitely use some suspension tuning in my opinion. Out of the box, nice big old steering servo on there, and it does have an aluminum horn on it. You do need to route your own antenna tube, set that up on your own. The tube is included with the package. Let me go ahead and put this body back on. Hooray for video editing. That took a minute or two to get that back on there, so that would have been a minute or two of you being bored out of your mind or listening to me ramble on for absolutely no reason other than to just try to. Now I'm going to open up this other bag over here because this has some good stuff in it, and I want to get the wing mounted onto this thing to kind of complete the look of it. There is a bag. Some assembly required. So it actually comes with a parts sprue. So I actually need a smaller cutter for that. But I want to dig into the rest of the stuff that's in this bag though, because it's interesting. This is the bag of tools. You can see a little bit closer up now. And this big orange one is a multi-tool. As if you look from this side, there are a couple other things that it can actually hold on to. I've not done all the research on that just yet. I'm assuming that at least one of those is going to help with the assembly and disassembly of shocks, as will some part of this, but I would assume that some part of this would also deal with something in the drivetrain, and there are a lot of just regular hex wrenches built into the face of this plate here. And they've got Allen wrenches, all sorts of sizes, some pretty long ones in there. You know, fair amount of cool stuff. And then this, what I was laughing at earlier, the spur gear. So there you can see it a little bit more closely now. And that thing is a monster. I've never had a spur gear of this size in my hand for an RC, you know, for anything smaller than a pocket bike. And then there are some extra shock pieces in there. You've got a couple of these sleeves. Sorry, you can't really see that well, but they're sleeves for going in between the 2 springs, as they've actually got dual stage springs back here, or 2-part springs, which, as is the norm for RC companies, they are not tuned properly. They might as well have just used one single spring, because neither of them is compressing all the way during the compression stroke. Therefore, you're not actually getting a multi-rate effect out of it. And then the stuff that's included in here includes 15 weight shock oil, 15, and then they have 30 weight, and this says petroleum fork oil. Both of these say petroleum fork oil, so not silicone oil. They do have some diff oil in here. It is 1,000 weight, which is kind of on the thin side, but I'm assuming this thing has some pretty thick gears, so that explains that. And then they do have a little bottle of threadlock compound, and it's a nice thick stuff. I appreciate that very much. They also give you a tube of grease. Not sure just what type of grease it is. It says it's heavy duty grease, but everybody calls every kind of grease heavy duty nowadays. And then there are just some extra pieces of hardware, and that covers it for what's included in the package. Let me get this wing mounted up real quick. There it goes. All right, so that's the wing installed. The wing is actually not that much bigger than you would find on like an 8th scale truggy. Looks big up close, but when you actually put it on the vehicle, compared to this vehicle, it's nothing. So that's it. Kind of a informal unboxing on this one, just giving you my thoughts and feelings on it as they happen. I will try to find a place where I can get some closer up views of this for the review, so you can actually see more of the details of its construction and whatnot if you're interested in that. Most of it is just plain HPI Baja, the original, but basically the stuff back here has been altered to be more specific to the electric conversion with that giant electric motor and a nice big ESC sitting up there on the top. That's it for now. Of course, I will be driving this thing starting very, very soon, and I will be driving it very, very much. And I will be sharing with you that driving footage with minimal editing at first, and then eventually give you guys a little review on the product. The HPI Baja 5B Flux with a Mambo XL. Not a Monster, XL, XL2 combo. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit like if you like this vehicle, and if you don't like it, go ahead and hit dislike, thumbs down, whatnot. Doesn't matter to me either way. Just hit one of them, please. Appreciate that. And if you have any questions or comments about these, please be sure to hit up the forums at ultimaterc.com and look for the large scale RC forum and share your thoughts or questions with folks in there. I'll talk to you again soon.